Today we've got a takeover episode. Wah, wah. This particular takeover is coming straight from a new podcast I've created called the Connect to Market Pod. And it's coming straight to you, straight to your ears. You don't even have to click on anything. Now, Connect to Market, what is this, Casey? It's a new pod, but it's also a community of marketing leaders. And if you like what you hear or you want to join the conversation, come on over. Head over to connecttomarket.com. Connecttomarket.com. All right, let's do this.
Because we pressure each other a lot. Like marketing and sales we'll always pressure each other. But that idea of like just being able to say like, hey, what can I do to help you? You know, and then reciprocating that of like, okay, what can we do to help marketing? Like we both need to close deals. What can we do to help out each other, and giving a little bit of space and time to let that happen.
Welcome to Connect to Market. I'm Casey Cheshire. Join us as we learn from marketing leaders who are driving founder-led growth. We're sponsored by Ringmaster, building B2B podcasts and communities to reconnect you with your audience. All right, here we go. This thing is cranking. I drove to work today going, I can't wait to introduce everyone to the guest today. And if you've been to some of the community roundtables, you have probably met him in a breakout session. If you haven't, somehow find your way into one because he is brilliant. But who is he, Casey? Who is he? He is a marketing leader, a thought leader, an entrepreneur-minded revenue machine builder, an innovative digital strategist, and he is a wizard when it comes to Google Ads. Built $500K plus in closed won deals in the first quarter as a digital strategist. He's been a finalist for Google's Premier Partner Awards. Vice President of Marketing at Vsimple, Bronson Cordle. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here. So I need to ask you the first question. First and foremost, but before I ask you that question, I got to sport my giant foam finger and ask you, Bronson, what is the number one thing that the number one thing that modern marketers have to do in order to connect to their market?
I think they just need to know the goal.
Know the goal. Tell me more. It sounds so simple. Why don't we do it?
Yeah. I think we often will get caught up in like campaigns or initiatives or like different stakeholder needs, and marketing should just have a simple, clear function. When it gets a little bit muddled, then everything that you're trying to do is less effective. So, I think oftentimes marketing is immediately assumed into like pipeline generation, but marketing is more than that. So knowing like, hey, this activity is going to pipeline generation, but this activity is going to brand awareness, or, we're building out the tone or voice of a certain person within the company, or we're looking to better take care of this partnership or community. Those are all different goals, but if we try to do them all with one type of campaign or with all of our activities, we're all the worse.
Oh man, the classification and the intention of knowing this activity is going to a brand, this one's going to pipeline. How often do we just like do the thing because it's cool, and then we don't even know if we're doing a good job of it. And it's like, I feel like so many marketers have that gut feeling of like, I don't know if it's working or not. And I guess it sounds like we don't know if it's working because we don't even know what we're trying to do with it.
Right. It's like after the fact, we're like, oh, that was totally a brand awareness play, only because it generated zero pipeline.
Right. Pivot. Good old friends callback. So, okay, talk to me about the simplicity of the goal. It sounds like we get complex. How do you simplify it for yourself, even at Vsimple?
Yeah, I think kind of what I'm mentioning is how I'm viewing things.
Yeah.
Is there an activity that we can do that if we put X dollars in, we expect to get X dollars out? That's going to be a pipeline activity. That would be more of my background, where I'm comfortable, more on the ads play, or, even events or partnership play in some cases, where we know that if we go to this event and we send these account executives, we're going to get X amount of meetings. Those meetings will then translate into this estimated amount of closed revenue in the future. I think that's one category. The other category that's really loose is, I don't have much of a PR background, but we're trying more and more on the PR side of things. We're a company based out of like Louisville, Kentucky, and it's like a big small town kind of. So the more that we can do to like encourage our own community there,
Yeah.
the better and more substantial our business becomes, and the more easy it is for us to close deals when people are like, oh, okay, we know this business. This guy from, this company already works with Vsimple, so maybe I should too. Um, yeah. So those are kind of the main two things. There are other things that we do like internal for marketing, which, they're definitely not going to affect pipeline because, it's for our employees, but marketing still has a play in it.
Yeah, I guess that brings up a challenge that I'd have for the idea of the simplicity of marketing is more than any other department other than maybe finance. It can really cover the whole customer experience. And there's, you could say, you name any random type activity a company is going to execute, and you could say, well, marketing should probably be involved in that. And now it's super complex, or is it? I don't know.
I think that is so true. It's funny, like right now we're even looking at our team and we're like, do we need to bring in a project manager just to make sure that, customer success is getting taken care of, that finance
Right.
is getting what they need, that sales is getting what they need. Because there's just all these little nuances of like, that could be 20% better if marketing just touched it, because marketing people are the best people.
Well, it's true. It's true. You're not going to get any pushback from me on that. We are the best. We're number one. Get the finger back.
That's
We are
right.
number one, sir. Um, so do you have like a mission statement or like a single line when you think about what you're trying to do in your role at your org?
I think right now, like, there's 3 things that I'm working on, and they're not, like, perfectly in a mission statement,
Sure.
but here they are. One is, I don't need to do marketing in a vacuum. Like, we're not a siloed department. Like, we have to work with everyone else. 2 is we have to be able to track what we're doing, and we might not have a one-to-one attribution, but we need to be able to say, like, "Oh, we did this, and it probably had this sort of an outcome." And 3 is, and this one's a little cheekier, at least in the B2B side, like, we have to be friends with the sales team. Like, it is way easier on the B2C side, especially on Google Ads, to just throw sales under the bucket or under the
Yeah,
bus and
totally.
just, like, leave them out of whatever you're doing. But in at least at Vsimple, and the more I'm working with the B2B types of deals that are like 90 days, need a lot of
Yeah.
meetings, like you have to work so closely with sales. So that's almost like another skill set that's not marketing-esque, but this, how can we partner with sales so that we can give them the leads that they want and they can also close them in a way where we don't feel like we're wasting our time. So
Dude, that's a killer list. I feel like that list definitely makes it into the notes. It makes it into the takeaways. Can we go through one by one? Just can we start at the first one?
yep.
The idea of like not marketing in a vacuum. Tell me more.
Yeah, so I think this theme carries along with a couple of your other episodes of just like know who you're talking to. Like, who is the customer? Are we trying to talk to customers right now, or are we trying to talk to owners of companies? Or are we talking to people that are using the platform, or are we talking to people that are buying the platform? So there is like a customer part of the vacuum. There's also again this interdepartmental thing within the company. Like, if I go out and just do marketing, whatever that is, whatever doing marketing means to you, but I haven't talked to our stakeholders. I haven't again talked to sales. I haven't talked to finance because apparently marketing is expensive sometimes. Um, then I'm setting myself up for failure when I get into the board meeting and they're like, "You did what? And it generated what?" You know, so having like that constant touch point of like, "Hey, here's the choices that I'm looking to make. Um, is there anything that I'm not considering from your departments before I make these decisions?"
Man, I feel like that's another man, you are a walking soundbite machine because but there's like real wisdom in that touch touching base with your internal stakeholders to figure this thing out. How frequently are you doing that?
I would say like it varies in like the depth of the conversation, but we do have like weekly touch points right
Yeah.
now, weekly to biweekly. And then we have quarterly, like, here's the hit list. Let's go ahead and yes, no. everything that's on the
Got
docket.
it.
So, no longer than 3 months, but typically a biweekly type of cadence.
Have you ever experienced a situation where someone else in that chain is broken? So there's another senior leader and you're communicating to them, but they are a brick wall, or like how do you manage that? Because you're not in a
Mhm.
vacuum and they're in there with you.
I would say that's probably the hardest part. Something that I've been practicing, that I'm not perfect here, okay? But I try to present things without my opinion first. Say, here's what we can do. Again, these are the goals we've outlined for the business. What are your thoughts? And if they ask my opinion, if they're like, hey, what do you think? I'll offer it then. But definitely presenting things as face value with the things they're concerned about. Like, here's the overall cost. Here's how long we're going to be doing it. Here's the expected effect on pipeline. Go ahead and having that on some sort of a chart for them to understand things. And then get into the dialogue of like what the stakeholder really wants from marketing and then what it actually might be able to provide. Those are the types of framings of those conversations.
Yeah.
So,
There's something about, because that sounds very scientific, right? It sounds, you're stripping out some of the emotions, maybe helping get rid of some of the politics of like my idea versus your idea. It's just, well, whatever works, you know? And if you have
right.
insight and you can help me avoid, jumping off this cliff, then by all means. But otherwise,
Yeah.
here's my opinion, you know?
Yeah. And that's what's hard because in marketing, like almost anything could be a good idea.
It's true.
And I mean, you could say that inversely too, like almost anything could be a bad idea. But with enough like placement or like the right timing, like that's where the virility of things comes in. It's like, oh, this would have been a bad idea 15 years ago, but because of the time and place and the climate of the culture or the society right now, this took off. Um, and so it's kind of hard. So you kind of set guardrails in those conversations to say, this is the bet, this is what we're looking for. Let's try it and see how it plays out.
That makes total sense, dude. So you're not in a vacuum, you're sharing these things. You take on a particular project or a mission and you've set, here are the goals for that. This is going to be a pipeline building activity, it's a brand activity. And then it gets to your number two strategy, the idea of tracking what you're doing. Tell me about that, because I know that you're really good at not only the tracking but the testing and all that. So how do you wrap your head around that?
Yeah, we have a lot of software for tracking. It is redundant in a lot of ways, but for example, just to give you a curtain behind the wall, like we use Google Analytics first, like that's the main thing, in conjunction with Google Tag Manager, and we're always checking that probably on a weekly basis of like, okay, is everything firing correctly? Are we um, tracking the right events? Are we using those events correctly in the ad channels? Um, so that's kind of like the baseline. Then we also have like HubSpot as our CRM. So with HubSpot as a
Yep.
CRM, you can do a lot of like the, click tracking or the ID tracking on either form fills or whenever a contact's created. And then in addition to that, we have a couple of other softwares that are like scraping just as a catch-all so that we can like push them against different lists. So, um, when we are tracking typically at the account level,
Yeah.
and those accounts typically will have contacts. So, um, what has been like an interesting transition from going like more of like just a pure Google Ads background to more of like a, VP of marketing controlling all channels is, I'm understanding more and more now the nuances between like leads, MQLs, SQLs, etc. Because when we're talking about tracking on Google, I can get all sorts of leads and conversions, and then I'm realizing that like, 1% sometimes are converting to an actual contact. And so without all of these redundant tracking tools, then I would be in this situation where I'm like, "Hey, Google is doing the best that I've ever seen it." And then, the back of house team is like, we're not seeing a single person that we can talk to. You're getting all these conversions, and who are they? Like, this is just
Yeah.
like a made up Gmail. This is a bot. This is all these things. So all of the tracking allows us to find those real people that are wanting to buy your product or to hear more about your product.
The overlaps, at the very beginning, you just even called out like, hey, they're redundant. But then as you explained it, man, if you didn't have that redundancy, you could find yourself tooting your own horn only for everyone else to be like, that guy's crazy. Like our sales are
Right.
low right now, like, and you're like, no, look at me. And I know we're going to eventually get into the alignment with sales, but I got to imagine that would even just lead to, that's not going to align you with your partners in the org if you're celebrating and they're like weeping.
Yeah, very difficult. And then I mean it gets into the whole attribution thing that I'm sure every
Yeah.
marketer.
What's your take on attribution?
Yeah, I mean this kind of does touch on that third point a little bit, but right now the way that our company is set up is everything is attributed to sales. Everything has to go through sales. So we're looking for attribution and like a marketing touch to sales conversion. So oftentimes, like in past companies I've worked for, it is like, is this a sales attribution or is it a marketing attribution? And like that even saying that out loud doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like if you look at a customer journey, like there's not something where you're very often only touching marketing. Now, this is a B2B slant. If you're a B2C, then sure, like you could click on a Google Shopping campaign and check
Yeah.
out, and then we don't need a sales. But if there is a sales team, there more than likely will be a situation where the touch from marketing can't convert directly into pipeline. So it makes sense to have sales as a filter. Um, so when I say that attribution, I'm kind of defining departmental attribution there, and that's what I've just covered. Secondly, there is attribution when we're talking about like channel
Yeah.
attribution, which may be more of like what you're defining.
Well, no, sorry, real quick though. I don't think I've ever heard it that articulate, that well articulated. The idea of, some people say, is it sales or marketing? It's like, dude, dumb question. Like, of course, sales had to touch it to sell it. Marketing's not sending SOWs out. Okay. And then chances are very high that sales didn't miraculously just go harass somebody on LinkedIn and find their info. They'd never heard of you before, and they did the whole. And if they did, that's probably kind of inefficient, honestly. So we're looking for some kind of touch point and then some kind of sales close point. Like that's a great reframe of the whole thing. Honestly, I know you probably just live in it, so you just sort of that's just how it is. But like that's really smart. I can see that just cutting a lot of that like drama out.
Yeah, that's what we're finding, and it helps us be like partners, like VP of marketing, VP of sales are partners here rather than like competitors to try to
Right.
like, oh, that pipeline's mine. No, this pipeline's mine. It's like, no, this is our pipeline. We need the business to succeed. We both want that pipeline to be bigger than what it is today.
Right.
But we're not trying to like fight in this scarcity battle to take certain dollars away from another department. So
And and honestly, so many people spend time doing that and not doing the other thing. So okay, so now you're
right.
leading into like channel attribution.
Sure, yeah. So on channel attribution, I don't, we've talked about this before actually, and I don't think there is like a perfect way to do this right now,
Yeah.
but you just need to set up like how you're going to present this to the rest of the company and stick with those rules. So in a lot of ways, we are again using Google Tag Manager, um, using HubSpot to capture click IDs. And that does give us a general leaning of how channels are performing. So,
Yeah.
there might be like a hidden UTM, it might be a hidden field on a form, but some way we're trying to tag activity from like how it's referring to our website if it's a web conversion. Um, what's increasingly difficult though is we are getting like a lot of like direct traffic from um, contacts that no one has ever touched. So this is like, okay, we could attribute that to SEO, which is great. They're coming straight off a SERP onto the website, filling out a form. But it could be that they're in an incognito window, that they're not wanting to be cookied, that they're just blocking things.
True.
Um, it could be that for some reason, like an AI tool has put them onto our website, and for some reason it's not tracked. Like there are more and more scenarios where we have a clickless, click as far as like an ad click, a clickless entry into the website where we
Mm.
haven't had those options before. So there is like a both and situation where we're really scrutinizing ad channels, but we're also looking at, is there any sort of correlation between when we increased investment or activity here, is the overall traffic or activity increasing for the company?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, that's always the challenge, right? And especially if it's increasing, is the clickless entry. The thought that I had, I interviewed someone a long time ago on hardcore marketing, and she changed her, like, she added into the forms and whatnot a field that was like, how do you how do you know about us? Or like
Mhm.
essentially like, what's your past, you know?
Right.
And she made it like a big text box. And then people would fill it out and give her like their whole, dark journey before getting, cookied.
Interesting.
And it's not like normalized data, auto discovered by HubSpot via UTM parameter, but it was just like this little magic, people
That's
just
cool.
saying, "Oh, blah, 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 AI," or blah, blah, blah. And, but to your point too, people aren't magically figuring out your URL, right? That
Right.
like, even they didn't just wake up in the morning and they go, "Oh my gosh, I gotta go to Vsimple. I gotta type this
Yeah.
in. I bet it's just this.com and it just works." No, they got it from somewhere.
Right. They're not guessing. Yeah. And yeah, I doubt people are often waking up and being like, "Oh man, I really need a process automation platform. My operations need help."
Yes.
Like that's not your first thought. It should not be your first thought
No,
in the morning. Like, but yeah, super funny.
in the clouds part in the giant V in the sky, and they're like, "Oh, I bet you there's a company called Vsimple." No. Yeah, do you ever think more brand when you hear that? Like, "Oh, okay, we gotta make sure we don't just go so hard in the paint on, you know, the demand side and the lead gen side, that we gotta make sure that we're keeping our brand up so that these magic moments do happen."
Yeah, we do have kind of like a mix of investment where typically every quarter I'm just making like a moonshot or, here is some sort of bet. It's going to be hard to attribute, but if ever one of these hits, it's going to help us go to like some sort of a national level. So,
Gotcha.
right now, like this is super old school, but like we have billboards up in Louisville of,
For
yeah,
real?
and I love it. And
Do you have a picture of them?
I oh, man, I have a mini one on my other desk.
The other desk, okay. You'll have to show me sometime, alright?
Yeah, I'll show you. But it's fun because you start getting these calls or, like, someone will text you. I don't know why they're taking pictures of things while they're driving. We'll not talk about that. But they're like, "Is this you? Did you guys do that?" So, there is, like, this fun kind of, like, anecdotal feedback loop of, like, okay, people are noticing these. We
Yeah.
do have target accounts in the areas where the billboards are. So with a loose assumption, you could say like, okay, these are helping in a way to build brand awareness in the communities that matter to us. So
How much does a billboard cost?
that they're expensive. I would say we don't always,
Generally speaking, you don't have to, like, tell me your deals
yeah.
or whatnot, but, like,
I think with the billboards that we have right now, the like market rate would be right around like 40 or $50,000 a month.
wow, for 1 or for, like, several?
We have 4 right now. So, they're, like, right around 10 to 15, depending on the placement and, like, if trees are on them or, per month.
And is
So
this, like, main highways right in Louisville kinda thing, and
yeah, so we have one, like, near the
Mhm.
airport, which I think is a good one, and then we
That's
have
smart.
one coming in from a more, like, affluent area, and then we also have
Okay.
one on, like, a main, like, interchange, for commutes. So, like, the main, like, heart of downtown, so
And, I feel like so much attention on the digital side to just go a little terrestrial and, something earthy and, but hey, a good billboard or a bad one even, you notice them. And, I could use another billboard on the side of the highway that's not for like a marijuana shop,
right.
you know?
It's like
So like,
every like, there's so many lawyer billboards or,
yeah,
And so it's interesting to see like a different touch. Ours is obviously a little bit more colorful. We have an obsession with bright colors for some reason.
Great colors.
Thanks founders.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it stands
So,
out.
and then real quick though, you have to figure out like what you're gonna say in a static. You have to place like a $10,000 bet on a
Yeah.
phrase.
Yep. So our f- our first one was I can't even remember what it is, but we like quickly changed it. Our one right now is turn AI into ROI. That's all the billboard says, and it has Vsimple logo
Bro,
underneath it.
I
Yeah,
love
we
that.
have like kind of like a boutique event coming up in September that's all AI focused in Louisville. And so this is to help kind of like build some awareness around that. Like, okay, this is an AI empowered company. They're putting their mark on it. They're putting it on billboards. They're having a conference just so people can start that association of AI
Yeah.
with Be Simple.
It's so smart, man. I always remember going to like Dreamforce and whatnot, and then, I mean, ads in the airport even, outside for sure, and then inside, like can really make a difference and put a splash going, oh yeah, there it is. There's Salesforce, dropping some weight,
Hmm.
or going to Boston and some, Deloitte or someone's being like, boom, here we are. Um,
Yeah.
and you get calls, you get these kind of conversations where people are like, they're calling back, they're noticing
What?
you, huh? They're noticing
Right.
that.
Yeah. And a lot of it is like friends right now, where
Sure,
like of
sure, sure.
coworkers. But I mean, other people have to notice. Um, I think what's cool about airports, you brought that up, is like advertising in the digital placements of airports has never been easier. And I think it's so powerful because like you think about it, you're spending, I don't know, let's say 50 to $100,000 on a trade show event.
Yeah,
There's only one way really to fly into that trade show. Everyone's going, unless they're driving, like everyone's flying into that one airport, getting a rental car and going. So you have a 3-day window prior or a 3-day window after where, okay, your target is in the airport. If they see you there and then see you at the trade show, then we're starting to build this kind of like multi-channel push to, oh, I should maybe look into what that company's doing.
yeah. Good point, right? It's like a squeeze point. They have to come through.
Yep.
So, okay. So, and I want to just touch on the third one too. But really, it's interesting. By talking through the other two, I feel like you're really set up to align with sales so much better than, I mean, how many people try to start with like, oh, I got to align with sales, but if you've done the things that you just described, what's left? How do you,
Right, you just have to
or is that
talk
it?
to them. That's the
You just talk to them.
I would say that, like, the both of us are, like, so busy. We will
Yeah.
set a meeting. We're like, "Okay, we're gonna do our marketing sales alignment meeting," and it always gets canceled. I don't think we've ever done it yet. Like, we keep trying to set it, and so oftentimes it's like we're calling each other on a commute or we're texting each other, but uh, I don't have a perfect form of how that looks yet, but trying is a really good start. And there's this book that I read. Shout out to Disruptive Advertising. In the interview process, they made us read this book called Leadership and Self-Deception by the Arbiter Institute, and it talks about this idea of like being in the box. But basically, it's like just assuming the worst of people, or like letting your emotions get in the way of treating someone like with the best intentions or treating someone in a way that they have the best intentions. So I think that
Okay.
framing, it really helps when we're talking about marketing and sales because we pressure each other a lot. Like marketing and sales we'll always pressure each other. But that idea of like just being able to say like, hey, what can I do to help you? And then reciprocating that of like, okay, what can we do to help marketing? Like we both need
Yeah.
to close deals. What can we do to help out each other and giving a little bit of space and time to let that happen?
Dude, cool book. Great recommendation.
Solid.
Um,
It's short too, so
short.
anyone can do it.
Yeah. Just hit 2-day delivery. Let's go. Get that in there. Um, I mean, is the idea that when you're in the box, you're kind of like you thinking something that's like not true. You're sort of like hallucinating.
Yeah, and you're just like not in a place where you're willing to help the other person out. Like oh, someone else will do it. Like, oh, they're the salesperson. Like, they need to do the sales stuff. Like, that is kind of like an in the box MO of like, instead of like, oh, we're trying to sell things. Sales might need help. I wonder how I could help them, or I wonder if they would be willing to help me. Like, there's this like abundant camaraderie that I think comes from not being in the box.
Yeah, and that structure and just being so locked into the structure and not talking to people outside your department. Ugh,
Yeah.
can't do that.
Yep.
Awesome, man. Dude, so good. I feel like, man, the master class continues. But my next question really is a little different. It's like, who are you? Who are you? How do you know these things? So, like, take me back in time, little Bronson days. Did you know you're going to be a marketing leader, throwing books out there, teaching us stuff, schooling us, being like a walking soundbite machine? Like, what was it like?
Sure. A little Bronson. What was he doing? He was really into like just the creative things. Like I liked Legos a lot, which I don't like
Yeah,
Legos as much now, which is a weird thing. They price me out. They price me out of the market. I don't have
same, dude. Same,
$400 and 10 hours to invest into
same.
something.
Yeah.
Um, so Legos, I really liked Pokemon. I don't know. You might have different opinions about that. Still like Pokemon, but really into like video games. The whole like the team building aspect that comes with video games, like when you have your characters, the math. It's the same thing.
Like, do you have some favorite?
Like games,
Yeah, video games.
I really like Fire Emblem games,
Fire Emblem.
which is I feel like it's almost like mainstream now, but the original, it's like tactic games. So you have like your characters with different stats, you move them around the board, you try to defeat your opponent's characters.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Cool, cool. Yeah, I always like that more of that strategic thinking style
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Turn-based, that sort of thing.
I was like big into Civilization and stuff like
Oh,
that.
okay.
Still
Yeah, yeah.
am. Yeah.
So very similar. Like that is like real-time strategy, similar to turn-based strategy. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I grew up with those types of things that I liked. As far as like vocationally, I had never thought much about it. Both my parents were really into like, um, I guess I don't know what you call it, music, but not like performance, more of like music theory, piano, chorus. That's what my parents' background was
Okay.
in. So I was like, oh,
Like hardcore theoretical music.
yeah, like reading music.
They weren't taking you to Fish concerts when you're 8.
No, it was yeah.
Okay.
I was in like a private chorus. I don't like love to sing, but I know how to. I don't really sing that much other than like in church. And then I've like played instruments growing up. So definitely more
Sure.
like musically inclined. I went to a liberal arts high school and college, so I was kind of more on the like I feel like arts is gonna be the thing
Yeah.
that I do. And I'm kind of still in that space, like a generalist knowing things. Um, but like really right around like end of middle school, beginning of high school, I had a really good mentor. Actually, I had several really good mentors. I was super lucky. From church that just kind of like met with me on a weekly basis, like helped me learn how to like set goals, really got the
Great.
the book idea. They're like, hey, we're gonna go through this book. Oftentimes it was like Bible study leaning, but sometimes it was like he had me read The Goal, like an old throwback, like how to sell things as a business, Seven Habits came up, so just all these people that um were wanting the best of me, and the best for me, on a constant basis really helped me want to lean into more of like a ministry thing. I was like, oh, I want to do that for people. And I don't know, you could say that's ministry, you could say that's education. So there's always this leaning of I want to help people find how they can be the best versions of themselves, which that sounds like kind of mainstream wording it that way, but um, like people want to do things. Can we help them get into the right places? Can I be a part of
Yeah.
their journey?
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
and it's kind of marketing. It leans marketing. Like you want, people,
Good marketing, right? 'Cause you're just trying to help people in
yeah,
the end of the
you want
day.
them to find what they're looking for. So it's kind of the same thing. Um, in like in high school, my dad works at a university here. So I was like, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. I get a discounted tuition, which will set me
Yeah,
up
let's go.
like not having student loans is really the best college decision you can make. Whatever,
100%.
like, you know, degree you want, wherever you want to go, just don't take on debt. So that was my main thought is I'll go get like a business administration undergrad, or like they have a culinary school that I could go to. I'll
That's
do
cool.
something like it'll be fun. I'll understand the school experience. And then about a month before I start at this school that I'm registered to go to, I get a call from a different school that I've been touring, and they're like, "Hey, we need you to finish these forms so that we can get your dorm set up and get you like enrolled." And I was like, I appreciate the call, but you don't understand. Like, there's no way that I can afford to go here. Like, the difference in like what I'd be paying for this one university versus your alls is just like astronomical. I
Right.
think at the time it was like 14 to $16,000 a semester or something like that. I was
Sure.
like, I don't have it.
That's crazy. Yeah, crazy talk.
Yeah. And then they're like, oh, like I guess no one told you. Like someone paid for all of your room and board and tuition for 4 years. And I was like, What? Are you sure it's me? Like I
Right.
don't have the merit for this. They're like, "Well, it's an interesting thing, like a third party organization. It's all like character based, not merit based." And I was like, "Great, because I don't have the
Oh.
merit to do it." Like,
Character I got.
okay, maybe I have enough character. I've been through some things, so, but yeah, like even to this day, I don't know how. But for
You
my
don't know who or how or anything like that?
no idea. Still no idea. I know the name of the organization, but I asked them, and they're like the donor slash donors would prefer to remain anonymous. So someone paid for all of my undergrad, and I have no idea who it was.
And so
Crazy.
this was a much more expensive school. So were you like, sorry, Dad, I'm bouncing. I'm going this other place.
Yeah, he was like, of course, like
Cool. Cool.
no, like he was excited for me. So yeah, the
Dang, dude.
university,
That's amazing.
yeah, it was great. I went to Asbury University. I don't know if that means anything to anyone. It's local to Kentucky. Incredible education. Um, but yeah, and so with that, I was like, oh, I need to. I just kind of like felt the need that I needed to give that up because I didn't earn the right to be there. So I got a degree in Christian education, and I was like, I'm going to go be a pastor, work in a church.
Yeah. Give
Um,
it back, right? You're
yeah,
like, man, I've been given a gift. I want to give this gift back.
yeah, I kind of like felt like I owed it to it. Like I didn't feel like it was my degree. I felt like, um, so yeah, I got a degree in Christian education, which is a little bit different in nuance to like a general like pastor degree or theology
Right.
degree.
You're like seminary kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But what was interesting is this degree specifically was focused on like church planting and like the organization of the church, how to build people up, rather than just like the theological side. And so, what was cool about that is um, the rigor of the education there was somewhat relentless. I almost didn't make it at first. Luckily, you get as many tutors as you want for free, included in the education. So you
Really?
better believe I had a tutor for like almost every single
Yeah.
class. Um, and I made it, and I didn't realize what my educational gap was going into college, but as I was graduating, I was like, okay, I know more now. And what was cool about, the liberal arts side of the education is like you have to take classes and everything. Like you have to be kind of good at everything in your general qualifications in order to graduate. Like it's a generalist degree, it's a liberal arts degree, and then you have some specialized classes. Um, so with the liberal arts, with the major being more of like a church organization, this
Yeah.
all transferred very quickly and easily to small business building. So it has like created this leaning towards like startup culture. Like how do you come in and create something out of nothing? So it was a cool thing of like that church planting mindset also works in building businesses.
You know what? Like, I could see writing a book about the comparison of the two because, yeah, man, you got to be scrappy. You have limited funds. People are like, yeah, sure, whatever. You got to find product market fit in both ways.
Yep. It's great.
Churn, man, churn, everything, you name it.
Right, yeah, how do we sustain this or, like, perpetuate it? And then the other thing that I've always carried over, like, I worked as a, like, operations manager essentially for a small business in town for several years, like
Wow.
6-ish years. And what was funny is, like, I came into that job out of a youth pastor job, and I never knew really how to treat employees. So, like, I went from, I was at a church, you know, had some volunteers, went into a job where I was, like, successful out of the gate and had nearly, like, 100 employees. Uh, I was like, I think I just treat them like volunteers, right? Is that they don't have to be here, and I don't necessarily have to keep them. And the laws in Kentucky are as stated too, like, it's an at will basis. So it really changed the way that I wanted to lead because I was like, these are people. Like, I need to treat them the same way as I would if I were like in a church or some sort of like voluntary basis. Like, they still
Yeah.
need the same things. It's still a person, regardless of like whatever your affinities are in religion or institution. Like, people have a certain baseline that they need to be treated. And I've just kind of always carried that with me within whatever position I'm in. So it's been a really cool thing to see, like, how those, like, foundational learnings have transferred so well into business, so
Dude, powerful idea for me, the idea of treating your team as volunteers because they like volunteers typically aren't even getting paid. So they're there for some other kind of reason. And there really is a responsibility to ensure that they get what they were hoping to get out of the experience too, because they're not even getting paid out of the experience. So it's like the onus is on you to really serve them so much more. That's a really cool idea, man. Well, my next question for you is a bit of a hypothetical question. So, there may not be tutors on hand to help you with this question, so I will give you a moment.
thank you.
Uh, but you know what? It sounds like you got that powerful education, so we don't even have to worry about this. Okay, I may or may not have a time machine up here in New Hampshire.
Go.
You come visit, do an event in Boston, maybe they move inbound back to Boston where it should be.
That's
And
true.
we do, and we drive north a little bit, come to New Hampshire, we get some beer, some lobster, have a good time. But we use the time machine. Okay. It's in the backyard, covered in a tarp. And it's a special kind of time machine because it goes back in time and you get to meet yourself 4 days after graduating with that Christian education, ministry education degree. And you get to talk to that Bronson. What do you say to yourself? What kind of thoughts do you pass along?
Hmm, that's a great question. It would be funny too because I got married within the same week I graduated, so I don't know if that guy would be, like, really receptive to anything, but he'd be like, "I'm in the car to go get married. That's what matters."
Wow. That's a busy week.
Yeah, but either way,
Yeah. So what do you tell yourself? All those things are about to happen.
um, like, I think one thing that's kind of stood with me is just you have to, like, remain relentless. Like, there are so many times where I could have just given up, like, either in my career or in my marriage or, in relationships, and, like, it's life isn't easy. I think everyone probably could agree with that, or if you can't, like, I think you're doing it wrong. So, just, like, not giving up. The second thing would be, like, the relationships that you have matter. Like, I'm in a really I would say this is unique. My wife and I have been together since we were 15.
Oh,
So,
okay.
we dated for 8 years and then got married after I graduated, like I was just saying. And yeah, we've been together, I guess this is like our 12th year of marriage. So we've been together a long time. Along with that though, like, we each have really long-standing, like, outside of marriage friendships. So my best friend is someone that I met in middle school. Like, we did have a period of time where we were not in contact with each other. I don't think it was like malicious. We were just doing and different things with our lives, but like that is one of the most valuable things in my life to me. My siblings I'm super close with. So I just don't think that without that type of like unconditional support, like I would be able to do the things that I'm doing, or I wouldn't be able to make the bets that I'm making, take the risks, take the chances that I've took. Um, so yeah, one is like, be relentless, don't give up. And the other is like, you have a community, you pour into them as much as you can, and that's been reciprocated, or that will be reciprocated.
Man, powerful words. The follow-up question to that is the busy guy about to get married, would you listen to yourself? Would you listen to that?
I think so. I
Yeah,
think he didn't know what he was doing. So he was probably more risk averse he was probably riskier than I am now. He didn't know
sure.
what he had to lose. So he'd
Totally.
be like, yeah, sure. Let's go all in. Now I'm like, my mortgage ain't going to pay itself. So let's talk
True.
about it. So
True. Man, powerful stuff, man. So if people want to connect with you, where do you want them to go? How do you want them to reach out?
sure. I think the best place right now is LinkedIn. Everybody should be working on their LinkedIn communities, profiles, etc. That's where business is getting done right now. That's not an opinion. It is my opinion. So,
Oh,
yeah,
well, it's
I
on the
think
show, so now it's fact. Now it's in irrefutable fact because it's on this pod.
forever. Yeah, I think LinkedIn's the best place to get in touch with me. That's the only social media I have too. So if you want to get
Yeah,
in touch with me, DM me.
there it is. Only social media. That sounds like a time-saving hack right there, too.
Mind-saving hack.
Mind-saving
Yeah.
hack, too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I used to
yeah,
have it all, and then I went dark, and I haven't turned back. So it's been great.
yeah. I'm about to do another episode on that.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother topic. I love it. Dude, thank you so much for coming on here. Like, it's always a great sign when I start stressing out about the time because I don't know if you look, we have time warped and we have like just about an hour just evaporated with these amazing conversations. But like the idea of the not living in a vacuum and tracking what you're doing, but just that intentionality, I'm definitely was learning from you on that. Of like, hey, calmness. This is pipeline. This is brand. Let's be intentional about what the outcome is before we even get started. Some really good stuff. So thank you so much for coming on here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. It's been great. Always good talking with you.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. For those people listening, if you learned something, I freaking know you did because I literally have 2 pages of notes over here, front and back. Then share this with one person, 2 people, 3 people. 9,000 be cool too, but even one person, like who needs to hear this? The next time you have someone just throwing down a random campaign, challenge them a little bit. Hey, what is the outcome you're trying to achieve with this? That's really going to help clear things up, simplify just a little bit. And with that, Bronson, thank you again, sir.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, everyone. This has been a crazy cool, very exciting episode of the Connect to Market Pod. We will see you all next time. And that wraps up another episode. Thank you for joining. For show notes and other episodes, visit us at connecttomarket.com. Connect to Market is sponsored by Ringmaster, creating podcasts and communities that create relationships, generate revenue, and drive growth.